Hey guys, Ben Reno Producer here. Let's go tour my studio, Majestic 8. Here is a kind of like a little lounge area. You know, I call this the perfect circle here. You know, you got two chairs here for, you know, a songwriter and an artist. You know, we also put session players on this. You know, sometimes the bass player will sit here. We got the couch here, and this is just kind of like a little lounge here. Music City acoustic panels, made by my buddy at Music City Acoustics. These are just nice wood frame panels with rock wool on the inside, and really nice kind of taupey, you know, rustic fabric. And the key highlight to this is that, you know, we have them kind of floating off the back wall. So we got a little bit of dead air back here, and this just stops reflections and just makes the, you know, a tighter listening environment. If you notice, we've got all of our panels really low. You know, a lot of people hang them pretty high. We kept them kind of at ear level, so when you're sitting in mixed position, all the panels are just nice and low and with perfect spacing in between them. We measured the room to kind of check them and make sure it was all right. We got a piano here. This is my wife's grandmother's piano. It's got like a real kind of creepy, kind of Halloweenish sound to it. We use it on like film scores and stuff. We got an iMac here, ready to turn on if we need to like have a little bit of screen control, recording, you know, the player. The player can kind of see what he wants to do right here. More Music City panels, bass trap in the corner. We also have one over in this corner as well. We actually have one in every corner of the room, so that's pretty sweet. Then we got a gobo here, black velvet fabric. This was built by my buddy Jake Slay here in Nashville. And what's nice about this is it's on casters, so you can kind of move it around depending on, you know, wherever you need it. You know, if you got a player and you're trying to kind of create some separation between the players, it's very important to have gobos. Old Mac Pro cheese grater. This was my first computer I had when I got into the computer world of recording. This was back in the day when you had a computer that you could actually like add a lot more RAM and a lot more hard drives and stuff. Really, really cool thing that Apple did, but that's one of my first computers. Moving on here, we got some hi-fi speakers, super flat. These were given to me by my buddy from the Grand Ole Opry. He was a sound guy there for about 20 years, and he kind of had what I call just like crazy ears, where he wanted speakers that were very accurate, and he used to mix to these. He recently passed away, and I inherited these from him. But what's really cool about these is we're actually running these with MIT time-aligned cables going all the way from this to the half-floor power amp. And it's basically like a garden hose, and it's just giving me time alignment from the speaker all the way to the power amp to the converters. All right, guys, so this is the command station. This is where the magic happens. We got some Focal Alpha 65s. These are some of my near-field monitors. You know, I'll check mixes on these when I'm not listening on the big boys, basically. We got some KRK Rocket 5s. These were some of my first speakers I ever bought when I was like 15 years old, and you know, they just been here ever since, and I check mixes on them, and they got a great little low end on them. This is a Retro 176. This is like the holy grail vocal compressor. This sits on like literally all vocals, acoustic guitar. It's great on bass. It's got a, you know, great little input, output, tap and release. You know, it's got ratios all the way from 2 to 1 to 12 to 1. Just unbelievable compressor. Hairball 1176. This is a clone of the Uri 1176. Really great on vocals, super creamy. I use it on snare drum and, you know, kick drum, things like that. We got two Apollos, Apollo X8, Apollo X8P, daisy chained together, Thunderbolt, giving me plenty of, you know, DSP with the UAD stuff. I also use the Unison mic pre's with the Apollo stuff. Gives me tons of I/O, and the converters are really great in those. We got a 27-inch Thunderbolt display. Here in Rack 1, guys, this is a Vintage King Rack 500. This is Vintage King's version of the API lunchbox, okay? And this is a Neve 1073 LB. It's a kind of a newer Neve 1073 500 series, and I use it on vocals, acoustic guitars. We got Cappy VP28s, a pair of those. Those are on kick and snare, overheads. And then a pair of AEA 500 series mic pre's. These are really, really awesome. Use these on toms and overheads and things like that. Behringer P16 module, powering all of our headphone boxes, PowerPlay 16. Great for hear back, so everyone can hear themselves. I keep one on my desk so I can plug in and kind of have headphone control and kind of hear what the players are hearing. This is an old M Audio key station, 88 key, super weighted, very, very heavy. And the configuration I have is I have it kind of under the desk because I'm a composer most of the days. I do a lot of producing of country music, but I do a lot of film score composing and game composing. So I like to be able to sit right here and just kind of play and compose. And I got my big screen up here so I can kind of see the picture and score, whatever I'm working on. It's just a great kind of composer setup. Yeah, cool. So we got a trackball mouse. I'm a trackball guy. I've had this since the Circuit City days. Wireless keyboard and mouse, so you can move it wherever you need to go. Avid Artist Mix for some hands-on control. So for the computer, I'm using the new M2 processor. I think I got 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte solid state drive. And then the OS that I'm using is Ventura 13.1. So kind of need to upgrade there, but just kind of being slow about it until I make sure everything's, good. And I've been in a lot of projects, so I don't tend to update until I'm kind of in between projects. That's kind of important to know. Yeah, more gobos in the back of the room. Samsung 55-inch television on the back wall. Yeah, and over here in rack number 2, we got a Grace 801 mic pre, 8 channels of Grace, one of the cleanest mic pre's you're ever going to use. Sits on drums, vocals, things like that. Kemper Profiler, fully stocked with Michael Britt profiles. Love the Kemper. All the guitar players here plug into it, and we just get great guitar tones. We're using a lot of Michael Britt profiles. One of my favorite amps inside that is the 67 Bandmaster. Thing sounds killer. LA610 Universal Audio. That's sitting on bass guitar. Use it on vocals sometimes. That was one of my first pieces of outboard gear I ever bought as a producer. Set me back about $2,000 back in the day, and it's fully tube. It's got a great compressor on it, kind of like an LA2A optical style compressor. UAD LA610. Digimax LT 8-channel ADAT mic pre. If you ever need like 8 channels of extra mic pre's, it's a great ADAT mic pre. They sound great. SM7B microphone for scratch vocals, little cloud lifter, so we get a little, better signal on that mic. And yeah, let's move on to Guitar World. We got a Fender Stratocaster. This was built by my buddy Fred Sampson here out on the West Coast. It's a parts guitar, got a rosewood neck, really nice single coil pickups, and the back plate's all off the back, which is really kind of cool. Feel a little more vibration when you're playing, It's an old trick. And it's got a battery pack on the back, which is pretty unique for a, Fender Strat. Parts guitar. This is a Martin here. This is my wife's acoustic. Really nice acoustic. That's tuned down right now. Then we got a Squier jazz bass. This is actually a cheap bass, but man, it sounds awesome on recordings. Just a killer bass for laying on bass guitars. And a Yamaha 12 string. Over here we got a Cougar 15. This is a 15 watt Bad Cat amp. What's cool about this amp is it gets several tones. It gets like Vox type tones. It gets Fender type tones. If you crank it, it almost sounds even like a little Marshall. It's just a super versatile amp. Really great for recording because it's not too loud. And just, it sits here in case we need an amp. This is a Flint Hill. This is like a clone of like a D18 guitar. This is a killer acoustic. I use this on everything. really nice acoustic, beautiful wood. And I just put actually some pickups in it. LR Baggs Anthem. This is a SE custom PRS here. Humbuckers, really beautiful guitar, super versatile. 37067, this is the zip code of Franklin, Tennessee, where I live. So send all the junk mail to my address, which we'll put on the end of this video. One of the most important things in the studio, this is where you keep all of your junk, basically. You know, all organized or not, but important to have good storage. Cool little barn doors that I built here to hide a problem, which is basically an AC unit. But what's cool about this is it's all reclaimed wood from burning buildings around here in Franklin, and just looks rustic and cool. Back here is drumland, guys. This is where, you know, pretty much drummers cram in the corner, and I love putting the drums in the room because, you know, everyone's just in the room making a record. That's how it was done in the old days. You know, there was no separate rooms, and so all the drums right here in the room. We got a Beta 57 here on the high tom. We got a Shure, I think it's a Shure PG16 on the hi-hat. Peisty Formula 602 cymbals. We got a Crash Ride from K, 18-inch. This is an HAX stage ride. Love this ride. This is a PDP vintage kit with like wooden hoops. So it sounds a lot like kind of like a vintage Gretsch kit. These are 80K C12 mics on the overheads. Hello, goodbye. AKG D112 inside the kick. FET 47 clone from 80K on the external mic. And an RE20 on the floor tom. SM57 on the snare drum. We also got a room mic up top up there, which is a C12 Lollipop from 80K as well. And it's just picking up all the low end on the drum kit up there. And it's sitting on top of the bass trap. So it's just getting all that low end, picking up the whole image of the kit. And a bunch of drumsticks back there. Drums sound killer in this room. All right, moving on. A little couch here for people to sit down, you know, relax and stuff. It's important to have a good couch. NS10s, guys, terrible. They're not even hooked up anymore. They're just kind of sitting back here now, just kind of floating. These were actually some of the early speakers that I learned on. And I just kind of keep them here because, I mean, no one wants them anymore. So they're just here, you know, classic NS10s. These things have been in and out of like tons of rooms. This is like a little kind of like area for just people to like kind of put pizza boxes and like their food and stuff. We got some serving trays and stuff. People can have like trays and stuff. They want to put it like on the floor or like put it on a chair. This is where people just kind of put drinks and things. It's a great kind of like just sit in the back of the room, kind of listen to the mix kind of environment, you know, right? Yeah, so over here, this is where the magic happens. It's a coffee bar, as you can see here. And we have a Smeg coffee maker, classic Smeg. We got a Keurig here. This is pretty much what most people use. Tons of Keurigs, every flavor, Starbucks, donut shop. Oh, it's important to have, you know, for the cribs people out there, good whiskey, right? Back in the day, it was Cristal, Elvis whiskey, killer stuff. Elijah Craig whiskey, kind of to help, you know, cleanse the palate. And waters, some wine, lots of cups, tons of mugs. And, oh, the best guitar strings that you could ever put on your acoustic. Diodario 13 through 56 mediums, phosphor bronze. This is the strings that I play on every acoustic guitar. All right. And then what's really cool is there's a clapper in the comp bar. So the light, well, it doesn't work right now, but anyway, let's move on. This is where we keep, you know, all the ribbon mics, all the extra tube mics. This is a Nady RSM1, RSM2 mics. Different. This is actually a tube mic that I built a long time ago. It's freaking made of airplane parts. This thing sounds great. This is where we keep software, you know, like Keyscape, Omnisphere 2, some boxes, Shure SM57 bags. We got some deoxit down there. It's important to have good deoxit so you can blow out knobs and things like that. And yeah, just, you know, lots of cool stuff. And what's nice is it's kind of in a dust-free environment. you know, when you shut the door. And yeah, we're so glad you're here. So, all right. So moving on, this is vocal booth A. Okay, this is where we put all the singers. This is where we lock them in here and torture them basically for the day, right? And this is where all the magic happens. They sit right here. Pop filter comes up. And this is where vocals happen, right here. 80K, 251, Z-Mod. One of the best recreation clones of the Telefunken Elam 251. This mic rocks. This is literally the mic that I use on every single country, you know, rock, pop vocal right here. And we got an ultimate stand here, killer stand. It's good. It's important to put an expensive mic on an expensive stand. Ultrasone 550s. These headphones, these are killer, man. These are the best headphones you can buy for tracking. Pretty pricey too. I think these run about like 700 bucks. Pro 550s from Ultrasone. Yeah, we got a screen in here, like an iMac, MacBook Pro. So if we need to like Bluetooth or like send the screen from inside the other room into here, we could do that. We got a PowerPlay 16 module. So the singer's got, you know, here, back, and here control. This is actually a hypercardioid mic from 80K, and they can kind of sit right here and do an acoustic. Sometimes we'll lower down the 251, kind of put it over top of this one and record both mics. Yeah, and then we got a cool little wire rack over here, just for storage. All right, moving on. So let's talk about kind of the construction of this room. You're probably wondering, like, what is this room? Like, where's he at? Well, this is actually my house. This is where I live, and this is where I make records every single day with some of Nashville's finest songwriters and major label artists, independent artists, you know, filmmakers. But this is actually a 2-car garage, guys. Okay, this was, you know, basically a bass boat garage. There was a massive boat parked in the middle of here. There was no flooring. It was just concrete with oil stains. You know, there was no walls. It was all just like framed up walls with an open ceiling. And, you know, we basically came in here. What we did is we put rock wool insulation inside all the walls. We framed it up. We put like 3 layers of drywall on every single wall. Most houses have like 1 layer of drywall. This is 3 layers of drywall. So it was a big job to try to get, you know, vibrations to stop coming in from this room, you know, stop the outside noise from coming in. We created 2 vocal booths in the backside room. One's a sound lock room and one's an actual like vocal booth, but both could be a vocal booth, but one's more of a sound lock, one's more of a booth. It's just a great setup, how everything's out of the way, and this is kind of the mixed position. We optimized everything. We brought in a great contractor, and it took about 3 months. It was about $40,000 to convert the entire 2-car garage into a functioning studio. That's not including gear. You know, add all the gear, it's probably, I don't know, you know, got out of hand, you know, probably 150,000 or something. But the room construction of itself was about 40 grand to convert a garage into a studio. Yeah, so around the room we have like a bass trap. And what it is, it's basically a drywall, hollow wall all the way around the room. And what it's doing is it's serving as 2 purposes. It's hiding concrete curbing that goes around an entire garage, because I didn't want like concrete curbing outside of my drywall. I wanted to have a nice finished look with the baseboards, but it's actually acting as a bass trap because it's hollow. So we have, you know, we have rock wool insulation in all of our walls with 3 layers of drywall, and then we have a hollow wall all the way around acting as a bass trap for the entire room. And what's really cool is it's also like a seat for players. You know, people can put like guitar cases on it and things like that. So it's a pretty cool design. All right, guys, so we're here in the sound lock room. What this room is, this is a buffer between the outside and the mix room and the tracking room. It's great because, you know, when people come in the studio, they can kind of walk in and they arrive kind of at the glass door, and it's kind of like a, you know, a knocking door where it basically, you know, stops outside noise from interrupting the session. It's a dual purpose room. We can put like a vocalist in here or a steel guitar player. We can also put an amp in here as like an amp room, really isolate an electric guitar amp. 3 layers of drywall all around the room. And we got this really cool attic pull down door up here where we store like all of our, you know, guitar cases and just boxes and stuff. And the storage is the exact length of the entire studio. So it's a massive storage space. Music City acoustic panels on the wall, and a really cool reclaimed wood wall from a house that burned down the road. I went there and grabbed all the wood and just nailed it up to kind of create a little accent wall. And yeah, sound lock room.